Is it worth watching Avatar: The Way of Water in ScreenX format? Avatar Theory here, hope you're doing well and having a fantastic day. And I just got back from watching Avatar: The Way of Water in ScreenX, and I've got some mixed opinions about that. Firstly, if you want to know my opinion on the movie itself and the story, the characters and the world of The Way of Water, I do have a spoiler-free review on that one, which you can check out on my channel. Watching Avatar: The Way of Water again, there is a lot of stuff that I picked up which I missed the first time around, and in my initial review on The Way of Water, I did say that the 3D IMAX version really pulls you back into Pandora, but ScreenX certainly enhances that as you see a lot more of Pandora around you, making you feel that you are right in the middle of everything that's happening on screen. However, there is a downside to it. Now, one thing that I did like a lot about watching it in 3D or real 3D, which is what the ScreenX format was in, is that the movie is not in high frame rate, which in my opinion is a little bit better in some sense, as the high frame rate in 3D IMAX did feel a bit strange, especially in the beginning, and in certain scenes where the camera goes upside down, I honestly got a little bit sick in the stomach. Now that of course can vary from person to person, but watching it in normal frame rate felt like I was watching a movie instead of watching a game cutscene, if that makes sense. Now, as for the ScreenX experience, it was a visual treat to see everything around you side to side, and when the Banshees, for example, flew at night over the forest, I really felt like I was on top of the Banshees, flying with Jake and Neytiri. In some way, it felt like a roller coaster ride, but at other times it completely took me out of the experience. This was my first time watching a movie in ScreenX format, so I don't know if the same applies for other movies, but what I disliked about the ScreenX format is that the side screens just isn't as bright as the middle screen, and the side screens weren't in 3D. A lot of times it also does not match up with what's happening on screen, so for example, if there's a branch extending from the middle of the screen to the side, you can clearly see the branch is a little bit off and it doesn't match up or doesn't line up with what's happening on screen. It's not like it's lagging behind or anything like that, but it just seems a bit off with lining up to everything that's happening on screen, and the fact that everything in the center is in 3D using real 3D glasses and everything on the side is, well, in 2D felt a bit odd to look at during the 3-hour experience. What I also noticed is that about 15 to 20% of the movie is in ScreenX format and the rest only has the center of the screen. So when you watch the movie, it's kind of like this, where you have the screen in ScreenX format and the next scene is just the center of the screen, and all of a sudden out of nowhere the screens on the side switches on again, and later it switches off again for an extended period of time, only to switch back on again, and just like I said, it takes you out of the experience a little bit. At one point I honestly got a fright because it's been so long. It was like almost an hour where it was just the center of the screen, and all of a sudden when they were in the water, when Lo'ak was with Payakan in the water, the sides of the screen switched on again and there were bright blue colors or more bright flashes on the side that popped up, and it kind of just gave me a fright, like a jump scare almost, because all of a sudden the side screens came on and like I said, it just took me out of the experience a little bit. What I also didn't like about ScreenX is that it really makes the cinema very bright. Usually, of course, the darker the cinema is, or the cinema itself, not the screen, the better the experience, but because there are screens on both sides, it really lights up the cinema entirely, so I could see everybody in front of me, and at one point it felt like the cinema lights were switched on. Now I do have to take my hat off and applaud the creative team for making this movie in ScreenX format, because of course it takes time and effort to create an extension of the movie, because basically there's an extension of the scene from side to side. But interestingly, what I noticed is that it happens more with the motion capture stuff, so mostly when you see just the Na'vi or just the forest, even the ocean scenes would be extended on the sides. Most of the footage, which includes humans, are not extended to the side, and like I said, overall about 20% of the movie is experienced in ScreenX format. Is this the best way to experience Avatar: The Way of Water? I wouldn't say so, no, but the added screens certainly provided for a unique experience, and the lower frame rate made it feel a little better in my opinion, but that of course changes from person to person. I wouldn't recommend ScreenX as your first time viewing Avatar: The Way of Water, but if you're going to the cinema to watch it again and want a different experience from the one you've seen, then I would recommend seeing it in ScreenX. After seeing this in ScreenX format, would I go see another movie in ScreenX? Probably not, as I can see the only movie that I would just see in ScreenX format again would likely be when Avatar 3 releases. It is unfortunate that the action on the sides does not match up 1-for-1 with the action on screen, and that it's also a lot darker compared to the elements on screen, but it was an interesting and fun experience nonetheless. IMAX 3D format would still be the preferred method to watch this movie, but if you need another reason to watch Avatar The Way of Water, then try it in ScreenX format, but just don't expect too much. If you're new here and want to stay up to date with everything Avatar related, then why not click the subscribe button and have a look at the rest of my channel for more Avatar content. Until next time, have a fantastic day and stay safe.